Sorry, there's this philosophical rule that everything that will go wrong, can go wrong, will go wrong. Okay, so that one, we're doing this one today. Okay, my screen share, I just need to add my webcam here. Give me a sec. Okay, wonderful. Are we all good? Do we have anything to say in the chat? Okay, no, we are all good here. Okay. And I'm gonna get going. So today we are working through question 1a. So it says, by the way, I've set it up so that the audience can't hear you if you do want to speak. So I'm going to just invite you to speak. You can mute yourselves if you don't want to speak or whatever, but I'm going to invite you to speak so that you can add to the conversation. I've got you coming through my headphones. And I think that should be good. Okay. So we're looking at section A, directed response. Does anyone remember what directed response is all about? Okay, so you write a response based on the text that they give you. So we've got read the following text, which is an extract from a travelogue by the writer Pankaj Mishra about his travel experiences in some small towns in India in 1995. Do you guys all have this text? I take it you do? I'm just going to, if anyone wants to join us on Discord, you're welcome to join us through this link. Okay. So, does everyone have the text? Let me just check what you all said. Okay, so people have the text. If you don't have the text, do ask. Actually, let me just give you the text. Let me see if I can copy it. The other day I didn't want to copy, but today it probably will. It doesn't want to copy. You can go get it at my website. I'm not totally sure what the link is to this specific page, but it's in the YouTube description. It's the first one we worked through the other day. So read the following text, which is an extract from a travelogue by the writer Pankaj Mishra about his travel experiences in some small towns in India in 1995. Imagine you work for the Health and Safety Department of the ISBT. You write a report making recommendations about how to improve the bus terminal. Write the text of your report. Use 150 to 200 words. Compare your report with the original text, analyzing form, structure, and language. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just open Google Doc next to this one, where I can just keep notes as we're going on things we might want to add and stuff like that. Um, let's do this. Yeah, there we go. That's perfect. Okay, so this is quite tiny. So let me first make this big, and then we'll make it. Oh wait, I do want to keep tab on this side here. So I'm going to just zoom in here. Okay, that's a little bit better. Actually do that. So very, very senior officer and very honest, Mr. It's better to use the Discord chat. I've just invited everyone on YouTube to come to Discord. Okay. So you can just use the Discord chat. Everyone who's here on Discord, you can close your YouTube. It's not a big deal. Okay. So, very, very senior officer and very honest, Mr. Chug was saying, now, for the 4th time, but his wife won't let him be. She wants him to make money. She's mad, I'll tell you, and she'll drive my brother mad. A short, stoutish, balding man in his early 50s. He spoke as though he was an acquaintance. In fact, I had met him barely 10 minutes ago on platform number 36, where he was waiting, like me, for the late 9 bus to Muzaffarnagar. Okay, I'm not totally sure how to pronounce that. There, amidst the general wretchedness of Delhi's interstate bus terminal, the thick fog of low-octane diesel smoke, the stench from open, unflushed toilets, the roar of bus engines, the countless cassette players blaring simultaneously, the muddy floor, the swirling mobs of bewildered travellers, the thuggish touts for private buses, the aggressive child beggars, the bawling babies amidst such oppressive disorder. The anxiety-ridden face of Mr. Chug seemed like a mirror image of my own. A fellow sufferer, I thought, and immediately felt a bond of empathy between us. Do you know anything about the Muzaffarnagar bus? He had spoken to me first in English in a thin, quavering, unnaturally high-pitched voice. Subsequently, he spoke only in Hindi, but the initial use of English was important. It was the sole means open to Mr. Chug of distinguishing himself from the squalor. I'm not totally sure how to say this word out loud. You know when you've only seen a word in text and you're not totally sure. Give me a sec, I'm not... One sec. My sound isn't working and I just want to check that out. Oh, you guys might have been talking, but I haven't been able to hear you because it was going to the wrong thing. Can you all hear me now? Can someone just speak quickly so I can check if I can hear you? Okay, there we go. I can hear you. Oh, it's squalor. I was right. No, I can't remember what I said the first time. Okay. Himself from the squalor of his surroundings, and it was a coded overture to another presumed English speaker, an invitation to privileged distress. I replied that the bus hadn't arrived, and that this was all I knew. Have you asked the roadways office? I hadn't. I wasn't even aware of its existence. Let's go. Let's see what they're up to. His company gave me the strength to walk up 2 ramps to the UP Roadways office and inquire about the delayed bus. Then, on being told about its uncertain status, we wandered around the huge waiting hall on the first floor, trading tales of public sector ineptitude. No better basis for such impromptu acquaintanceships before finding a small partitioned-off waiting room in a corner. There, shielded from the rest of ISBT by its cracked and grimy glass wall, through which the dimly lit waiting hall appeared subaqueous, and the bales of humans asprawl on the floor like so much marine detritus under a fan which, miraculously, in the midst of such complete breakdown, still worked. We seated ourselves, and Mr. Chuck, I'm not sure. Anyone know how to pronounce that so that I can just stop doubting my existence? If anyone knows, do tell me. Mr. Chug got started on topics only a severely undermined traveller would take up. An intense excitement animated his sweat-drenched face. His voice crackled with nervous energy. He was in a hurry to confide in me as much as he could. And less than 15 minutes after we had met, I was taken on a whirlwind tour of Mr. Chug's life. I learned, for instance, that he lived in Muzafarnagar, and he was returning, yeah? Chug, thank you. And do you know this word? Like, do you know how I should pronounce that? Should I go look that up? Muzaffarnagar. Okay, yeah, I'm just saying this very white vibes today. Muzaffarnagar, that he was returning from Jaipur, I don't know, where his brother lived with his mad wife, that he himself had been a doctor in Toronto, but, and here the story turns strange, he was not paid his salary for 10 years, so he came back to India and started working as a consultant to an engineering firm. But he was disappointed by India. His wife was like his mad sister-in-law. She wanted him to make money. He was now thinking of going back to Toronto. They were now willing to pay his salary. At any other time, Mr. Chug, am I saying that right? Chug. Mr. Chug's story would have seemed slightly garbled, hiding some unpleasant reality. For instance, the bit about his withheld salary. Was it because of some wrongdoing on his part? In its present setting, however, parts as though of the disorderly world around us, it appeared plausible, and the mood was infectious. Mr. Chug asked me no questions about myself. But I had to stop myself twice from blurting out a few family secrets of my own. Soon, Mr. Chug began to repeat himself, not just the themes, but also the exact sentences he had used earlier. It looked as if he was working himself into a state. The thought that he might any moment go completely berserk crossed my mind. It was disturbing sitting next to him, staring into his thick-jowled, ruddy-cheeked face, and slowly realizing that such delirium could be less aberrant than what a sweltering May night at ISBT might make it seem. That it might have its sources in the peculiar circumstances of Mr. Chug's life. Okay. So, a couple of things that I'd like everyone's help in answering. Okay? Write in the text in the chat, and then we can add it to the document here. Okay? So the first thing I want to know from you is, what do you think, or let me do this rather, it's a little bit much. So firstly, what is the text about? If you guys can get going on just typing your answers to these so that we can discuss them. So the first one is, what is the text about? Okay, so we've got here a man's experiences in a small town. So let's copy and paste that. What else do we have? If you guys would prefer, you're welcome to speak, I suppose. Like, I'm finished typing these, so you can just tell me your answers. I can type them. The writer's experiences at an unfamiliar station, bus station. Okay, the speaker's opinions of his new acquaintances. Is that what the text is about, Cobble? Yeah. Okay, so it ties into his experiences of a small town, so I'm just gonna add that here. Okay, while some of you are writing, I just want to see, okay, what type of text is this? It tells us that it's a travelogue, right? You agree? I swapped those two. Okay, now, what can we generally expect from a travelogue? What is a travelogue? Anyone? Okay, so we've got a description of a series of events, okay? So that's what we can generally expect from a travelogue. I think that would be accurate. It's there. So descriptions of the place the speaker is visiting, okay? And something I want to point out to you here, that it is not just a description of the place, but it is very much a description, like, it's a description of his experience, okay? It's a retelling of his experience. He's not writing an advert for the place type of vibe. It's not the same as a blog post, which is which has the goal of getting you to visit that place, right? It has a very personal feel to it. Okay, a travelogue is almost like a diary entry in some ways, with the inclusion of the thoughts. It just doesn't quite go so personal so that it can't be shared with others. Okay, but it does have a lot of inclusion of thoughts and processing and thinking through things. So, does everyone agree with me? Anyone disagree with me? Yeah. Okay. Now, what makes it different from a diary, though? Okay, you say just not as personal. Okay, so people are saying they agree. I agree, it's like a diary, just not as personal. Very much. Like, this is where I'm at as well. Now, in terms of... So, this is... what are things we can expect to see in a travelogue? We can expect to see analogies, not anecdotes, right? So we can expect to see anecdotes. We can expect to see internal musings. We can expect to see commentary on the events. We can expect it to be based on a certain place. Okay, this one quite interestingly focuses on a traveler. I can't remember what I was saying. Well, he's kind of like a traveling doctor, but I don't quite know how to describe him. Oh gosh. So yeah, I don't quite know how to describe him, but there's that kind of vibe to him. Okay. So just gonna make this purple. Well, that's probably pink. Okay. So, something I want to ask you, okay, so we are told that we have to write, imagine you work for the health and safety department, okay? So we look at our instructions. Who am I? Because they're always going to tell you who you are. Okay? I work for the health and safety department of the ISBT. Okay, you write a report making recommendations on how to improve the bus terminal. Okay, so I need to, what must I do? Write a report. Write a report making recommendations. So what should my text type be? I would say that my text type is supposed to be a report, right? Does everyone agree with me? Okay, so the first thing I'm going to ask myself is, what is wrong with the bus terminal? Okay, so what is wrong with the bus terminal? Can anyone who possibly can please tell me what the problems are with the bus terminal? Okay, where is someone said the hygiene of the bus terminal and the lack of signs in the offices. Can you give me a reference where that was in the text? Where was it in the text, if it was? Just tell me the line number. Okay, so that's from line 5. Good. So we've got there amidst the general wretchedness of Delhi's interstate bus terminal. The thick fog of low-octane diesel smoke, the stench from open, unflushed toilets and the roar of bus engines, the countless cassette players blaring simultaneously, the muddy floor, the swirling mobs of bewildered travellers, the thuggish touts for private buses, the aggressive child beggars, the bawling babies amidst such oppressive disorder, the anxiety-ridden face. I'm going to just copy and paste this. Yeah, so we've got all the hygiene stuff. Okay. So other things that we've got here. So we've got I'm going to just highlight this. Okay. Then we've got they call themselves sufferers. Okay, so he says that they were fellow sufferers. What else do we have? If you guys can find anything that I should highlight here, to tell me. Distinguishing himself from the squalor of his surroundings. So we've got a lot of focus here on just how the area just isn't very nice, and it was a coded overture to another presumed English speaker, an invitation to privileged distress. Okay, the bus hadn't arrived, and that was all I knew. So there's a lack of communication, right? I wasn't even aware of its existence. So that probably points to poor signage. Can you guys add on to what I'm saying? Okay, line 25. His company gave me the strength to walk up 2 ramps to the UP Roadways office and inquire about the delayed bus. Then, on being told about its uncertain status, we wandered around the huge waiting hall on the first floor, trading tales of public sector ineptitude. Tales of public sector ineptitude. So the language used there I like. And I wonder if I'm going to emulate that. Tell me, if I'm working for the ISBT, am I going to emulate this language and the way that they speak about the public sector? Am I going to use that in my report? Is that going to be appropriate? Okay, good. So how would I speak though? Okay, so I will speak formally. I will be respectful. Yes, I will be a lot more respectful. Also, because I'm part of the group, I'm not going to really insult myself by talking, because I work in the public sector. I'm not going to insult myself by talking about the ineptitude of the public sector. Okay. Okay, so no better basis for such impromptu acquaintanceships. Before finding a small partitioned-off waiting room in a corner, there shielded from the rest of ISBT by its cracked and grimy glass wall, through which the dimly lit waiting hall appeared subaqueous, and bales of humans asprawl on the floor like so much marine detritus under a fan which, miraculously, in the midst of such complete breakdown, still worked. We seated ourselves, and Mr. Chug got started on topics only a severely undermined traveller would take up. Okay? So, we've got this focus through this text on having a conversation with Mr. Chograt, but the lead into that, very much the context for the conversation is the public service sector. It is the challenges that they are having in this station, right? I'm going to check. Okay, so it's the conversations that they're having in this place. So we've got, I wasn't even aware of its, I was here. So, before finding a small partitioned-off waiting room in a corner, okay? So, we've got this waiting room in a corner, okay? They're shielded from the rest of the ISBT by its cracked and grimy glass wall, okay? So there's this cracked and grimy glass wall. So, again, the lack of, it's dirty. I can't think of the word. The lack of, you said it here, someone said it here, the lack of hygiene. I don't know why I'm struggling with that word. Through which the dimly lit waiting hall appeared subaqueous, and the bales of humans. Bales of humans asprawl on the floor like so much marine detritus. Under a fan. Okay? And we're talking about the fact that this fan miraculously works. So, yeah, we've got this, and the language used here obviously wouldn't be appropriate for us, but the reason I'm highlighting all of this and looking at all of this is because, sorry about that, is because we do use it in our later, in our question 1b comparative analysis that I explained to you guys on Friday. So we do have this comparative analysis coming, and so now is a good time actually to go through this. You shouldn't be spending that much time on this, but I have time, so I'm going slowly through it with you so that you can add things if you want. By the way, Dia, you are welcome to talk. I've got my headphones in, so it's not going to be uploaded to, your voice will not be uploaded to YouTube, so it's like all chilled if you talk, okay? Okay, is there anything else? I can't remember if there's anything else. Okay, I think this last bit, there's this drama, but now what is the relevance? This is I've got a good question. What is the relevance of this last part, okay, to the rest of the story, to the rest of the piece? How does it line up with the rest of the piece? Okay, so it furthers the personal experience of the writer. There's something insightful that we can say here. It matches the chaotic atmosphere. But then at the end here, we've got the commentary on the fact that Mr. Chug being like a little bit delirious. The delirium is not necessarily being caused by the heat of the evening. The delirium is potentially being caused by so the delirium is potentially being caused by some mental health issues he's got. And so there's a question that may or may not be posed here. Okay, I'm not totally sure if the text is posing this question. Sometimes I read I read into things that don't need to be read into, but it's possible that the text is questioning the fact that Mr. Chug is actually sorry, I'm just trying to catch my thoughts. That Mr. Choke's delirium is caused by like an internal issue. And there could be this thing of what is the source of the chaos in these okay, what is the source of the chaos in this terminal? What is causing that chaos? And there's that like underlying question, maybe. I think. Does anyone else see that underlying question? Or am I imagining it? I might be. Okay, so let's talk about this. We've got my report that I need to write, okay? Well, all of us are going to write a report, okay? So, my report. What are the conventions I need to include in a report? What is a report? Sorry. I'm just waiting for some answers. Okay, so something that needs to be included is addressing the facts. And posing how it can be fixed, okay? So I'm gonna have to come up with some good ideas. Oh. Okay, anyone else have anything to add there? Yeah, I want to have a bit of a discussion, so I'm just going to open that like that. So, just as you guys think of things that I can include, tell me, type it in the chat, and then I'll go through it all at once. I'm not seeing messages from you guys. I'm just waiting for some messages. Well, you guys can talk. Okay. Um. Okay, what I'd like to do is I would like, because you guys aren't answering much, I want to just explain a couple of things I'm going to do, okay? So the first thing I need to include, so in a report, it's like a formal feedback that you give to a business or something, or about something, okay? So I'm going to have like some kind of title for it. So like something like a report, a report on improving the bus terminal at Delhi's ISBT, or rather Delhi's interstate bus terminal. Okay. Then, so I'm going to give like some kind of title. Okay. Then from there, I'm going to tell you who am I. Okay. So I'm going to say I'm a representative of the Health and Safety Department. And so everything that I'm going to be talking about is going to be built around the health and safety of the terminal. So it says, you say, so the report should be to the bus terminal, but it says, imagine you work for the health and safety department of the ISBT. Okay, you write a report making recommendations about how to improve the bus terminal. So you're making recommendations about how to improve the bus terminal, okay? Your job is to do this. Your job is to provide the ISBT with recommendations to do with health and safety, right? Now, the ISBT is the interstate bus terminal. So yes, you are writing the report, planning on giving it to the ISBT, who you do work for, but you are basically giving it to the people who can actually make the changes that need to happen. Does that make sense? Okay, so I've got my title, so everyone says yes, it does make sense. So I've got my title, I've got the who am I, okay? Then I'm going to jump into, and then I'm going to say something about why am I writing. Okay, so basically this is my with regards to section. Okay, and I would say that I'm probably going to put this all in my introduction. So I'm going to just, each paragraph is going to just get its own little section. Okay, so the first thing we need to, okay, so I want to discuss this. We've only got 150 to 200 words, and as I'm sure most of you are aware of already, it is very difficult to, like, you have to be very precise if you're going to write only 150 to 200 words. Okay, that is a lot of words to write in when there could be a lot to say. I mean, even in this piece, there could be a lot to say and how we could fix these things. Okay? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about our hygiene concerns. And just in general, I think you should definitely here include flip. Okay, so our hygiene concerns. So you've got, we need to clean the bathroom. My typing is bad today, and my eyes are really bad because I've got an eye infection. So I'm sorry about the typos all over the place. Okay, so I've got these. We need to clean the bathroom. So what are the problems with the bathroom? So we've got these unflushed toilets. Okay, is this something that, are the toilets broken or are they just unflushed? Okay, so they're just unflushed. So that could be very easily solved by just having someone flush the toilets. So what we have at most terminals and things here is we have people who constantly clean the bathrooms. They're in there like every 15 minutes. So we need to employ someone to just check up on bathrooms every so often. Do we agree? There may not be water. Okay, so here we're going to have to make a creative decision. Okay, so is it that they can't flush because there's no water? It's a low economy country. In some ways. But yeah, I mean, Delhi is not known for its hygiene. So perhaps there is no water. So perhaps no water. And we're from the health and safety, and so we can say that sanitation needs to be playing a larger role. Okay? So we've got the unflushed toilets. Next, what else do we have? The thick fog of low-octane diesel smoke. Okay, where's the smoke coming from? It's coming from the buses, right? So we've got the air quality issue. So we've got the air quality issue, and what can we do about the air quality issue? Okay, so they can service the buses more often. Okay, that's one thing they can do. They can create air filters. Because, yeah, low octane gas, I believe, is cheap gas. So they can improve gas quality or fuel quality. Okay, we can find a new gas supplier. Okay, but something that I think is also very practical is they could create, it's a bus terminal, okay? So they could, is this indoor? As far as I can see, this is kind of like an indoor vibe. On platform number 36. Maybe it doesn't seem to be an indoor area. It could be a small outdoor space as well. The problem is that it might be an open air terminal, and because it doesn't make sense to me that they would have you waiting for a bus inside. But I would say that something that would be nice is if they have an indoor terminal where you can wait, and then when your bus comes in you go out from there, kind of like airport vibes. But so we could perhaps have an indoor waiting area. But the problem is the bathrooms stink. Okay, so that also kind of works together, right? The roar of bus engines. Okay, so the noise pollution. The noise pollution is a thing because they're outside, so could be solved by them going inside. And it could be solved, they could create a soundproof indoor area. Yes, they could do that as well, and they could add a bit of white noise. by adding white noise, that could make it a lot more comfortable. I was thinking more like a white noise system like you would get in an airport. Just it releases white noise frequency. So the problem is music. Yeah, there are also blaring cassette players. Okay, so the white noise, if you have white noise, you can still listen to your own music on your cassette players. It doesn't disrupt that music, but it just adds a bit of a hum to the room, which makes everything less overwhelming. So I want to ask, though, this is definitely health and safety related. This is definitely health and safety related. But the noise pollution in terms of our comfort, is our comfort health and safety related? Okay, so I'm not going to actually address this. I could make an argument, a very strong argument for how it could be health related, but yeah, it could become related in the long term. The problem is, like, I have limited words, so I'm not going to use up words that I don't need. Okay. I like that someone mentioned the mental health concerns, because mental health is also important. Like, even the fact that the writer thought that the noise and the chaos was enough to cause the delirium that the guy was experiencing. Okay. We've got this noise pollution. Okay. So taking okay, something I want to say I'm going to create a new section here. So something I want to add is the idea of okay, so here I do want to say that we need better ventilation. Okay, because ventilation will also add to the smell of the bathrooms. The thing is, mental health issues, many people experience mental health issues which are, yeah, I do think I get what you're saying. Like, mental health issues, I'm not going to mention noise pollution in mine because I feel like it's a tangent to go on and it's not really staying focused on the question. But ventilation is something I would like to add there. And then I think what we can do is talk about the seating arrangements. Okay. So we have this. Okay, cool. You may go. So we have this thing of they go into this little waiting room in the corner, and it is like, I just realized something. I was saying here about the air quality, that they can have like an indoor section. They do have an indoor section, but the indoor section, they were standing in the outdoor section where the air quality was bad. So in that case, they can probably add like ventilation system. Maybe they're like under a roof. It might be like a petrol station type of vibe where they could have like, I don't know, some kind of ventilation systems. I don't know what they could do there, but in terms of seating arrangements, they could do internal renovations. Now, what is wrong with the seating arrangements? Why is that a health and safety concern? Everyone sits too closely to each other, making infection or the spreading of illness more likely. Okay, so spreading of illness. Okay, now, I've written all these points, right? What makes, what unique thing can I add? And in the event of an emergency, the tight space. Okay. Someone said in the event of an emergency, the tight space is a problem for quick exit. But we don't really have, so we've got the poor signage. That could extend to exit signs. But not necessarily. Okay, so I want to know, what unique thing can I add to make my response more insightful? I forgot about the cracked glass. Okay, no one's adding to this question that I'm asking here. the unique thing I can add to my response to make it more insightful. So I want something that is going to really set my piece apart from other students, something that's going to make it pop. Yeah, that's what I meant here with the someone said they could open the area up more. As it was mentioned, they went into a small room with a damaged wall with glass, so perhaps removing the wall to open the area up. That's where I've got that's this internal renovations. So I'm writing a report. In a report, something that could set me apart is I don't know whether this would make it a proposal though. Let me just research something quickly. Yeah, actually, I could do that. Okay. The thing is, like, we do want customer satisfaction. So we do want customer satisfaction, so we could have a bit of a focus on that. But I think what would be great is if we could propose the something that would pay for the changes. Okay? So the reason I say that is because if I could even mix this with the customer satisfaction, I could say that making these changes are essential and not optional, but they will also bring in more customers as more customers would be willing to use the services. We could also perhaps have a restaurant. Okay, anyway. So we could have a restaurant. I can't even see what that says. So we could have a restaurant or vending machines that could pay for the cost of these changes. Or cafe. Okay, so we could do, if we suggest that, I feel like that will really add to our proposal. Okay, because if we ask ourselves, what is the purpose of a report like this? What are we trying to achieve? we want to see changes made to the terminal. But why are we writing this report? Who must make the changes? Okay, so a report very much, yeah, it does provide an overview. So we're writing to the ISBT. Well, we are from the Health and Safety Department. So we're writing to the ISBT and, well, yeah, so because we are writing about it, we need to make sure that we are kind of meeting our audience where they're at, right? Maybe that's a little bit over the top, I'm not sure. But I do feel like it's important to meet our audience where they're at. And since our audience, ultimately, they want the bottom line. They're not going to be like, okay, we'll make all these changes. We have budget for it. If they had budget for it, they would have made the changes. Or they might have come to you saying, okay, we now need to fix this up because we currently have a lawsuit on our hands or something. So we need to make these changes. So we can be creative here with what we're trying to achieve. But ultimately, I think we want to provide a compelling, accurate, and professional report in order to effect change in our department. Yeah, I'm not sure if the interstate bus terminal, I think it's a government institution. I think so, probably. So we want to provide a compelling, accurate, and professional report in order to effect change in our department. And so that we can bring in revenue, but also so that we can serve the public. Okay. We are public servants. That's what we are. So this is the public sector, so that's what we're doing. Okay, what I'd like you guys to do for me, can you all write this piece for me? Submit it to me on Google Classroom, or actually submit it here, wherever. Actually, no, Google Classroom. Submit it to me in Google Classroom. I'll create a thing for you to submit on. And then on Wednesday, I'm going to show you my response that I was going to write now, but I was actually just having fun, just listening to all your ideas. I think some of you had some really good ideas. So I'm going to write mine, and then I want you to... We're going to mark mine, and you're going to, like, basically rate mine, see what you'd give me, and then right after we've read mine, then we'd be able to use mine in the analysis. Yes, I will share the document. Oh, you already submitted it last week. Did you do the whole paper on your own, dear? Ah, okay. Okay, I mean, that's fine. Or was this a paper that I already assigned to you guys? Oh, okay, wonderful. Then we'll take your pieces that you've written and we'll explore that. If you want to adjust any of it after our lesson today, after our explanations today, then you are welcome to go do that. I don't think I marked the specific paper of you guys, of yours, so you probably were supposed to do it. If I assigned it on Google Classroom, I just didn't know that I'd assigned this specific paper. But I assigned this paper because I thought it was a good paper, probably. So, yeah. Okay. No, that's perfect. If you did it, if you want to add anything to it, go for it. But otherwise, that's perfect. I'll just take what you've got, and then we're going to look at this on Wednesday. Okay. Has anyone got any questions on that?